So we're in lesson 4, and we're going to talk now about how we start making this site look good, right? How we start putting on the nice theme veneer, the look and feel of a website that is now powered not just under the hood by MemberPress, but also designed and styled by Beaver Builder. And that's the whole point of this, is to mix the two, right? But before we do that, before we jump into the Beaver Builder part, pricing tables and all that, I want to pause to highlight one of the dynamics with MemberPress that some people kind of forget or don't know about simply because of the way it's been designed. See, when we walk into a particular membership, and this is the one we've been working with, what you're going to notice is this little tab that we've clicked on before, right? It's the price box. And one of the things you get to do is define your box, right? So you can go in here and say, okay, these are some of the features that come with this level, and you can create several of these, and it will fill this up, right? It'll fill it up so you have not only the name of it, but then you'll have the features that are there, and then the final sign up. The reason I'm showing you this is this link right here, sign up. And when I open it up, right, we're going to go to the actual place where we do the sign up. Now, in the case of a free course, the form that would normally show up doesn't show up, right? There is no registration at all because, or at least there's no credit card collection or anything else, because you don't, it's free, so you don't have to pay, right? So you get that sign up button. If you want to, when you're creating your other page, which we're going to get into, and you don't want to use MemberPress's automatic pricing boxes, which I don't really use, even though they're powerful, but because I want to be able to style the page and create my message and all that, I just want what the URL is. And this is the URL. The URLs are always with the register, right? And here's, this is the name of the course. And you can see that from right up here, right? You can see that from the actual, that's the special link, right? It's the register link for the actual course. That register link, right, is what, when you create your button and we want to point people to, they will come to here just to sign up, right? Now, if you've never signed in, and of course we are signed in, you would have the create your account, but there'd be no area for billing you. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because notice that if you're already someone who's signed into the site and all you're going to do is hit the sign up button, there's nothing else here. There's no description. And you go, oh, wait a minute. If this is naturally going to show, even if I do all the rest of the nice stuff, and normally this is just a set of forms, right? The user creation form and the payment forms. That's all it really is. But if I'm going to show that, and that's the default for every membership that I create, then I probably do want a little bit of text here. And that's the text that you see this space right here. So this is the visual space. And if you were going to describe this course, a free 6-part course, 6-part course on using MemberPress and Beaver Builder together. When I update that, right, what's going to happen is that when I come over here, we're going to see it show up in the text. There we go, right? And I want to highlight this because no matter what you do in Beaver Builder and anything else you do, when you finally take them to the registration page, the page to create that account and to pay, well, that's MemberPress does that. And unless you're going to go recreate all of that work on your own, you're going to want to make sure that you're thinking through, okay, what are the data elements that MemberPress is going to pull through? And that description and the pricing are obviously going to be here, right? Now, if I go to this same URL, right, but I come over and I say, let's go get a new incognito window. So it doesn't know that I'm logged in, right? And it goes to give it to me. You're going to notice the fields I was telling you about. First name, last name, phone, email, password confirmation. This is because it says we don't know you, right? We don't know who you are, and so you're going to have to register. So that's the part that obviously for us, we don't have. But if it's a free piece, you're going to see essentially, and this is the first time it happened to me when I was creating a free course, was I realized I hadn't put any description there because I was like, oh, I'm going to go put it in the Beaver Builder side of things. And then you realize, oh, it automatically displays the link to go buy the course, especially if it's free. It's just going to have the sign up button, but I want a little bit of text there. So that's what we use this section for here. Okay, so that's just one little note about how you're mixing the two and realizing, oh, MemberPress is going to output some things when we get ready to create that account, when we get ready to collect that money. And so I have to be aware of that. Now, all that said, this is not how we're going to sell this, right? This is what happens when people sign up. This isn't how we're going to sell it. We're going to sell it outside of this completely. And so you'll recall that the last time we were talking about it, we had a lot of different pages, right? And we were walking through like, what are the pages we have to create and all that good stuff. These are all the different lessons, right? So this is the course page, which we can open up. And you'd recall that we had set up this as our table of contents, right? So now we want to go create a pricing page. And to do that, we're going to create a new page. And in this case, it's a landing page, a sales page for the product. And we don't have multiple memberships to create multiple pieces. So we're going to go leave this alone for a second. And we're going to go create a fake pricing page that I can just walk you through some of the stuff related to Beaver Builder. So I'm going to come here, right? So we'll just call this pricing, right? And we're going to come over to our member area. We're going to create some new memberships, right? This is completely different than our free one that we're kind of navigating through. We're going to create something new that is just so that we can create the ability to show you the pricing groups. So we don't have to fill out all this stuff. We're just gonna call this silver membership. Let's call this $50. Do another one. We'll call this $100. And we're going to add one more. Platinum is $200. So we have 3 new memberships, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our page and we're going to say, let's say we wanted to create a pricing page for that offer, right? So we're going to come over to pricing. And this is the first time we're really getting into Beaver Builder, and we're getting into it. In the next lesson, we'll go into all the different things that are possible. In this one, we're just going to focus on this notion of pricing and how we play this out. What you know, and what I just clicked, by the way, was a blank template. So I want to start blank. If you ever wanted to go back to templates, right, you can go through and look at all these different landing page templates. And there's a bunch of them, and they all look really great. And don't forget that there's also other options here, right? So for example, content pages, you'll see there's a lot of different ones. And one of the content pages in here is actually a pricing page, right? And so you come in here and we go, okay, where's our pricing? There we go. We can actually drop in automatically a very nice looking default display, right? And if you want to get rid of this sidebar, you can hide it. And so then you'll see what it looks like. It's all center aligned. It didn't look center when that panel was there. But we can go back to add content and it'll show back up. Okay? So this is Beaver Builder, right? You're in Beaver Builder and we're looking at this piece. And one of the nice things is you can go into this guy and you can say, oh, you know what? Let's go edit this because it says standard. And of course, it's not standard, right? This was our silver. Right? Oh, and by the way, you know this is $50, right? Right? And then we come over, and did you notice what just happened? Even though I hadn't hit save yet, it showed it right there, right? It automatically updated it in the background. The other thing is, notice that I'm able to move this panel. So sometimes, like right now, we're about to mess with advanced, and we know that this is going to be gold. And we said, what, 100, right? And when you do that, you realize, oh, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Well, move it over and you can take a look at this, right? And go, okay, yep, that's right. And I think we said our last one was platinum. And it was 200, right? Okay, and then I hit save, and here I have it, right? And you go, okay, that's cool, but where'd this all come from, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back over into our add content, right? And actually, I'm going to come to our templates, and I'm going to pick that blank template, and it's going to say, hey, it's going to replace your existing layout. I'm going to say, okay. So we're going to go back to nothing. Why nothing? Because that's the best way you learn, right? So when we go into this, the first thing we deal with is columns, right? If we're going to have a row, how many columns do we want in that row, right? And you're likely going to say, well, you had 3 options, you need 3 columns. No, because we're talking about a pricing module. Now, can you do it with 3 columns? Absolutely. I'm going to show you both. So let's say I come in with 1 column, all right? You'll notice the 1 column is automatically defined in a fixed space on the page, and I can change that by clicking on this little wrench, and on that wrench I can go to full width, and that full width will change it. It'll still give me the full width background, but fixed area for my content. That's totally fine. The nice thing about that is I can come back in here and I can change the background, right, to a color, and I can even pick that color and say, okay, there we go. Now I have a background color. I'm still only dealing with 1 column, but that's okay. When I come to add content, instead of looking at the rows that we had been in, or even the basic modules, I'm going to go to the advanced module. And when I go to the advanced modules, you're going to notice down here a pricing table. That's what I'm going to bring out and drop right into the middle of that. And you'll notice this starts to look familiar because we've been here before. So here I go, and I'm going to say, all right, this is our silver, right? And the price is $50 for the year. Oh, sorry, 50. And then this is going to be for the year, right? And that's going to bring up my first guy. There it is, right? There's my first guy. You're going, oh, that doesn't look pretty at all. Understood. But we can totally adjust that. I'm going to come in here and add another one, right? This is gold. This was 100, right? And we're going to add one more. $200. All right. Now, when I'm done with this, you're going to go, oh, we didn't have to use the 3 columns. We could totally do this with 1 column, and that's what we just did. And you'll notice that I can come into style and say, okay, the price, do I want to highlight the price or do I want to highlight the title? And if I change that, it's going to shift to say, hey, look, the focus is on the titling. Do I want the border style rounded? No, I want squares, total squares. It's going to make it total squares, right? The border size, should it be large? The spacing, should it be large? The features minimum height, right? And you go, features? What features? Well, we didn't put any in, but we totally can. So you can come back over here, edit this price box, and if you scroll further down, right, we can come in and we can put features, right? So this is our 50-year plan, right? So comes with most of the basics. Actually, that's a lot of text, right? So we'll put basics, right? And then I can add another guy here, right? So some additional stuff and plus 1 more. All right. we will save that. That will automatically adjust our first guy, right? And this is where you start realizing, oh, that style piece of, the features minimum height, you can say, okay, well, let's make the minimum height 40. Now this is going to get crazy, right? Because it's going to create some default space, right? And if I want to get more crazy, right, it'll push it even more. Why do you do that? So you can keep all the pricing boxes exactly the same, even if one only has 3 things, one has 10 things, one has 3 more things, right? So you go, I get it. I get what's going on here, right? We can also step into the advanced, and you're going to see, hey, what happens if you want to display this differently, right? So let's say that you're going, oh, you know what I want to do is on the small devices, I don't want to show the same grid with all this same data. I want to show a lot less data. You can create a whole nother row, make that row appear, and we'll talk about this in another lesson, make that whole row appear for mobile and make this stuff appear for desktop. So you have all that piece. Visibility, you're not going to mess with, but you have the advanced tab is always there available to you. Now, what if you wanted to move these guys, right? You can change the order just like that, and our platinum is going to drop to the middle, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring us back. But you have the ability to do that. And if you were to fill out all these features, you can also just duplicate it to create another one just like it, right? So for example, if we created another one just like it, right? Now we got a second silver. I'm going to kill our gold, right? I'm going to come in here and edit this, change this to gold. This is cheating, but it's the way I do it, because now guess what? My gold already has this stuff, and then I can add to it from there, right? So it's my shortcut to keep building on from there. Now, I'm going to hit save and close that. So you've seen our ability to do this, right? We created 3 columns out of a single column layout, right? And we have the ability to go in anytime we want and keep manipulating these kind of things. And there's things you can do, right? There's fancier things you can do in this. For example, in this little text, and you'll see it, I think you're going to see it when I open this up, it says 1 feature per line, HTML is okay. So you can put other HTML in there if you want, right? I just want to highlight. So you can get a little fancy if that's what you want to do, okay? But what if we don't want to do it this way, right? Oh, and by the way, let's go back into here. Sorry. Let's edit this. There was one more thing I didn't show you. Here's our button, right? So the button at the bottom, right? We're going to need to put in a URL. Well, that's okay, because that is exactly why we created those 3 guys. Remember those register URLs we talked about, right? So we can come in here and hit select, and we're talking about gold membership. Oh, sorry, this is silver, right? Silver membership. We can put it right in there, and you'll see there's that URL. Membership tutorial, register, and the silver membership. So now, when I finish with this guy, and let's hit done and publish our changes, when I come to this page and I click the get started, where's it going to take me? It's going to take me to that silver membership, right? Now, it's not asking me for my name and information because I'm already logged in, but it is saying, hey, you're going to have to pay with your information here, right? So again, for payment, you can imagine there's going to be forms. You're going to fill that stuff in, etc. We could configure all the stuff here to do payments. But this particular course would be free, so we don't have to worry so much about that. And the point is how we build out these pricing guides. So when you're in this page, you can hit Page Builder, and it'll take you right back into the page in the Page Builder version. And you go, well, what's he going to do? I'm going to kill it again. I'm going to delete it. All that stuff we just did. And you go, why'd you do that? Well, because I'm going to come back into my row layouts, and I'm going to bring in my own 3-layer spot. And I'm going to delete that 1 layer, guys. So now I have 3 columns. 3 column, not 3 layer. 3 column layout. And now I can do anything I want. You go, what's the point of that? Well, let's say, and I'm going to change this back to a light, very light gray. Okay. change it to a light gray background, and I'm going to say, okay, now I want to create my own display, my own stuff in here. Sure. Okay. What do you want to do? So I'm going to come over here, and one of my favorite modules in the advanced area is the callout module. So I'm going to bring the callout guy here. Now, mind you, I'm creating this pricing page from scratch, right? I'm doing anything I want to do to sell this thing. So I get a heading, right? And I can call this the silver plan. I can also go immediately to style and say I want that center aligned, right? I can also change the structure to be an H2, give it a little more prominence in the structure of it. And if I wanted to, I can even change the size, right? I can go from default to custom, and I can change the font size. I'm not going to mess with that. I can come here and I can give my, all that same kind of like, this is what you get, this is whatever. We can do that in a second. In style, we've looked at, so image now. Do I want an image, right? Or do I want an icon? So I'm going to go with an icon, and I want to present an icon for this particular callout. And so I'm going to come in here, and again, you can play with all of the different icons that are in here. I'm going to pick that guy, right? And I don't want it on the left of heading. I want it above the heading. So I want this icon to sit above the silver plan, right? I can also pick, and look at the control you get over this. I can pick the color of the icon and the hover color, etc., right? So I come over here and I go, yeah, I want it to be red. When I hover over it, I want it to be much darker. The background of it, I'm going to leave alone. I don't want to mess with that. And I can even decide what size I want. So let's say I go to 90. And this is going to make this icon much larger. Oh, I'm loving this now, right? You're seeing all the control you get. I'm going to come over to my call to action. Hey, there's our friendly link again, right? So I come over to Sil, type in the first 4 characters. Sorry, got to type select first. Sil, S-I-L, it'll find it, right? There we go, same window. And then how do I want to do this? Well, I want a button, of course, right? And so I'm going to say here, get started, right? This is what we had on the previous one. I can put an icon on the button, though I don't need to. I can change the button color, right? So I can come over here and say, no, let's go back to color that we're working with, right? Get started. On the hover, right? I can say, no, let's make it darker. The text color, right? It's white, and I'm going to keep it white. I'm just going to leave it alone, no issue. Button is flat. Button width. Oh, what if I want the font size to change, right? So come to 18, and if I want the padding to be different, put 20. I'm getting a bigger button with a little more spacing around it, right? Rounded corners. Okay, I still get all the same advanced stuff. Now I come back over to my general, and I can say, okay, what do I want to add to it? So remember we had, and this is the visual component, right, versus plain text. So I can say we had basic stuff and some additional stuff, one more, right? And on top of that, I may want to bullet these guys. Oh, that doesn't look like I want it to look. So I'm going to leave that alone. Although I may, see, I know what's going on, right? I'm in that column. I created a 3-column display, and so it's pushing it way out. So I go, okay, no, let's leave it in the middle for now. Though, again, I could create more space around this column if I wanted to. So you'll see, because this is big, that text and that alignment would have been way out over here, which we didn't want. We can manipulate that, right, by coming into here and saying, let's go to our advanced and define what the margins are. Or we can even, this is crazy, but you can just drag and drop these things, right? So let's say that I wanted to do something like, okay, this is going to be the smaller one, and that's at 25%, right? And I can take this guy and make it 25%. And I can even go and make a duplicate by clicking on this duplicate button, right? This is the thing I showed you before. Drag and drop this guy into here. Click in here. Change this to my platinum plan, right? Now I have a plan. Of course, I got to change the button, right? Or else you're going to be in real trouble later. So we're going to come here to platinum. right? That takes us to the right place. And then I can spend all my time assuming this is what I want to do with the middle one, right? Notice though I'm missing something really important, right? The price. I forgot to put the price, right? So I can come right up here if I want and put $50 a year, right? And to this guy, come over here. $200 a year, right? And all of a sudden we're going, oh, I'm styling it the way I want. And this is the whole point of Beaver Builder is you get modules, you get things you can do, but when you're going to create your pricing page, really, and to be clear, right, I would never price it just like this. I'd put text above it. I'd put text below it. I would tell the story that I want, right? So let's see. One of the pricing pages I worked on recently. Here. Look at our price. So here we have a whole articulation and display of the features. Then we get into the plans, right, with the buttons. And then there's still more content after that. So obviously, there's a lot that goes into how you design a pricing page, right? And of course, this course isn't meant to say, here's how you design it. The course is meant to say, you have total control. Even though MemberPress is the one that's telling you, we're going to do the infrastructure for the actual membership, you have with Beaver Builder ultimate control to create your pricing page any way you want, using either their pricing module or creating your own, right? With your own call out. And you can, again, we can come in here and we can say, let's go add another row up top, right? And you can talk about all the benefits of this membership. Let's go put some testimonials below, right? And if you want to do, I mean, again, in the next lesson, we're going to talk about all the different features of Beaver Builder so we can look at some of these guys and see, right? But there are testimonials, etc. And if you signed up for or purchased an additional add-on to Beaver Builder, which is the ultimate add-ons, you get even more additional modules, right? So crazy amount of stuff that can make you look good. But the point of this is that once you've created those memberships in MemberPress, that register URL is the button or is the link that you're going to put to this button. And therefore, the world is your opportunity here. You can design anything you want with Beaver Builder for your pricing page.